Hello, my dear students, and the rest of the learners. Welcome to part 12 of an 18-part series of tutorials in applying spreadsheet using Microsoft Excel. In this tutorial, I'm going to continue with looking at data management with my focus being on filtering of data in a worksheet. My name is Mehmet M, or you can simply call me Emily Swap. What is to filter data? Filtering of data is the process of displaying only the records in a worksheet that contain a certain value or that meet a certain criteria. The data can be filtered either using one criterion or based on several criteria. To filter records based on one criteria, you proceed as follows. For example, if you want to filter students whose ICT unit score is 54, you proceed as follows. Number one, you open the sheet with the data to be filtered. Number two, you click on a cell within the range to be filtered. Number three, you click on data menu, then click on filter. Number four, you click on drop down arrow in the column that contains the data that you want to filter. Number five, you click the values or range that you want to use. That is, you select the desired criterion. Lastly, you click on OK. The following is therefore a sample demonstration on how to apply to filter data based on one criterion in a worksheet from a workbook called Emily Swap College Term 2 Results. In this worksheet, we can filter, that is, we can display any student with a rounded score of 54. So how do you filter the records so that you have only the record with 54 as the base score displayed? So in that case, we are going to click on any cell in the column that contains base score. And then you click on data menu and click on filter. Once you have clicked on filter, you can see that we have several filter buttons at each column. So I'm interested with the column number 12. So I'll click on this filter button here. That is column 12. Then under the cells or under the selections, remove, select all, and then only select the students with a certain score. For example, I want to filter and display a student who has, do you have 54 here? No. So I can display any students with a score like 70. And then I'll click OK. So you can see that the only student who has scored 70 as the best subject is minor not. So this is the record of the student who has a score of 70 as the best score. To remove filter, you click on filter button. Let's filter another. We want to filter or display any student with 74 as the base score. So click on any cell and the best score. And then, as usual, I'll click on Data menu. Then I'll click on Filter. Once you have clicked on Filter and these filtering buttons have appeared, you click on the button for the filter of your interest. And this case is the best score. And it's only student who have scored a score of 74. So I'll remove select all, and then I'll tick 74. Then I'll click on OK. My dear students and the rest of the learners, you can see that the two students scored best score as 74. And these students are Susan Mwendo and Salat Kipgeno. So that's how you do a simple filter. How do you filter the records based on more than one criteria? So in this case, to remove the filter, you click again on Data menu and click on Filter icon. And you can see the filter buttons have disappeared. So what next? How else can you sort your data? So the other way of sorting your data is, or not sorting, but filtering your data, is to filter data based on more than one criteria. Know the difference between filtering and sorting. Sorting is arranging all the records in a certain order, either ascending or descending, or based on a certain field. But to filter data is the process of only displaying those records that meet a certain criteria. For example, records of any student that has scored 74 as the best score. But you can also sort now, or you can also filter. You can filter based on more than one criteria. So, for example, a student, you can display or filter any student whose ICT score is greater or equal to 54 and is less than or equal to 70. So how do we do it? Number one, open the sheet with the data to be filtered. Number two, select the range of data to be filtered. Number three, click on Data menu and then click Filter. Number four, click the drop-down arrow in the column that contains the data that you want to filter. Number five, point on the text or number filters based on your selection. Number six, select your first criteria you are going to use. Select records. For example, is greater than or equal to. Number seven, click the drop-down list box for the first criteria and select a value from those listed. For example, 54. Then select the radio button for either and or or. Number 9, select your second criteria and either and or drop-down list box. For example, is less than or equal to. Number 10, select a value of your interest from the drop-down list box for the second criteria, for example, 70. Lastly, once you are done, you click on OK. So the following is a sample demonstration on how to apply filter data based on more than one criteria in a worksheet from a workbook called Emily Swap College Term 2 results. If, for example, in this worksheet, we want to display all the students that got best score between 60 and 80, so that we are able to display only the students who have scored more than 60. Then this is what we do. That is best score being 60 and above. I repeat, If we want to display or filter only the students who scored the best score of 65 to 80, then we proceed as follows. So I'll select my records that I want to filter. So I'll select these records here. I'll drag my mouse button over them, and then I make my selection. So that is the records, or those are the records that have been selected. From there, you click on Data menu, and then click on Filter. If you don't see any buttons under the columns, click on Filter again. You can see I have these headings here. I have these headings or these buttons for filtering. So, what do you do? How do we proceed with our filtering activity? So, what we are going to do is we are going to select the cells that contain the data. And then from there, we are going to click on the filter. And therefore, we want to filter based on base score. Any student who has scored 65 and above, but below 80%, then we are going to click on this button on column number 12. So you click there. And then you point on number filters. Remember, we are filtering our students based on base score, based on numbers. So number equal to what? We are sorting based on any, or we want to display any student with a score of 65 and above. That is greater than or equal to 65. So clicking greater than or equal to 65. So is greater than or equals to 65. You can click on this button and scroll. I don't see any, so I'll click or I'll type 65. So display any student whose score is greater than 65 or equal to 65 and is less than 80. So is less than 80. Is less than 80. So display any students or records for any student whose best score is greater than 65 or equal to 65 and is less than 80. Once you have set your criteria, the first criterion being is greater than or equal to, and the second criterion being and is less than, then you click on OK. Let's see. And the best score, would we have displayed? You can see in this column number 12, all the students that have been displayed are those who are above or equal to 65, but less than 80. You can see 70 is greater than 65. 79 is less than 80. So that's how we filter our records. And you can see the students, all the students that have met that criteria have been displayed. So that's how we filter our records. Let's apply another filter. So let me undo this filter. And then we can also filter the students based on a score, like, or based on the rounded score, based on rounded score. So what I'll do, I'll click, I'll select the cells that contain the records which I want to filter. But I'm going to filter based on a rounded score. So I'll click on data menu, then click on filter. If there are no filtering buttons, you click again on filter. Now they are here, and we want to filter our students based on rounded score. So in this case, we are going to display any student with a score of 70, but and less than 100, less than or equals to 100. And therefore, I'll click on column number 11, that has rounded score. Then I'll point on number filters. Then I'll select is greater than or equals to. Who or which students do I want to display? Is any student with a score of 70 and above. So number filters, I'll choose the first criteria being is greater than or equals to 70 and is less than or equal to, is less than or equal to 100. So this criteria will display any student whose rounded score is greater than 70 or equals 70 and is less than or equals to 100. Then I'll click on OK. We have any student of that nature? No. Let's undo. Let's undo. Let's have another criteria. Let's have another criteria. Of course, you can see, and rounded score, there's no student who has been returned because you are looking for any student who rounded score is greater than 70 and less than 100. Like this 70 is not greater than 70, it's equals to 70. And there's none which is above 70 after all. So that's why we have gotten a 0. Now let's sort again, or let's filter our students based on total. Any student who was above 260 be displayed. So I'll click on total, then click on data, click on filter. But if it is highlighted, as you can see, let it remain. And then click on column number 9. And then you want to filter and display any student with a score above 260. So under number filters, I will choose greater than is greater than 260. Any student whose total score is greater than 260 will be displayed. But then another criteria is greater than 260 and is below or is less than. In this case, there are 4 subjects. And therefore, the total cannot be more than 400. So is less than or equals to, is less than or equal to 400. Because the number of subjects are 4, which is carrying 100 marks, that's 400. So in that case, you can see that our data that we want to filter or display is the data whose total score or students whose total score is above 260 but below or equal to 400. And then you click on OK. And that is our filter. That's our filter. We have 4 students displayed, the least with 262 or the least with 262, or one has 262, the other one has 278, 273, and 269. That is anyone with a score above 260 and less than 400, and 400 is the maximum score that can be attained because there are 4 subjects and each subject is equal to 100 marks. Therefore, 100 times 4 is 400. We have come to the end of part 12 tutorial on filtering of records. You can now continue to part 13 of the 18-part series in which I'm going to demonstrate and discuss on what we call the totals or subtotals function, or what we call the subtotals and the grand total. Congratulations for learning part 12 of 18 on filtering data in a worksheet. You can access other parts in Applying Spreadsheet series, as well as other computer or ICT videos by clicking or tapping on Emily Swap ICT YouTube channel below this video. To subscribe to the channel, if you have not subscribed already, tap on subscribe button below this video in YouTube if it's not currently reading as subscribed. For any further correspondence, kindly write it to us through the email emilyswap@gmail.com. Thank you very much for listening to me. Let's meet in part 13 of this series, and God bless.